With the recent seizure of 25 tons of fentanyl originated from China, it is obvious to an idiot that the decades-old war on drugs isn't working. This war, in my opinion, is the politicians trying to eliminate only those few traffickers who are not paying them bribes. Nancy Pelosi. A pinch of fentanyl, which is a synthetic opiate the size of a grain of salt, will kill an adult. The market for this shit isn't near large enough for selling 25 tons, so I will have to conclude that it was not meant for sale. I believe 25 tons of fentanyl was intended for a reservoir or water supply source somewhere in the United States. If that's the case, like I said in the short prior video, this is an act of war, and Chinese officials' categorical denial will be little consolation to a nation of dead people. There is not a market for 25 tons of fentanyl, so it is logical to conclude that this amount is an act of terrorism and those responsible are combatants that are at war with us. They are non-uniformed enemy soldiers and have no rights, either under our Constitution nor the Geneva Convention. When they are caught, they should be tortured and summarily executed. If we want to end the drug epidemic in this country, we have to get medieval with these criminals and stop playing political games. The president needs to sign an executive order to that effect. Anyone caught in the trafficking of drugs will have their assets seized and they will be taken to Gitmo and interrogated by military. Then after they disclose their contacts and suppliers will be executed by firing squad as enemy spies. There is no reason whatsoever that the military should not be called to deal with this problem. We know where they grow this shit, and we should send F-16s to immediately napalm all the poppy fields and send cruise missiles right into the haciendas of the traffickers as they sit on their $100,000 lazy boys watching CNN. And if you're one of those who would hesitate because of unintended collateral damage, I say fuck 'em. They ain't worried or concerned about how many people they kill in our country. So if innocent civilians in their country, the ones who are the landscapers, butlers, cooks, and servants, they'll soon get the message to stay away from these demons. Too bad. You were warned. If they don't heed the warning, don't blame us. You want to kill our kids? We have no problem killing yours. And as for those politicians in this country who we know are being paid by the cartels, they are also terrorists. They should suffer even harsher penalties than the traffickers because they swore an oath to uphold the law and protect the citizens who pay them. Up against the wall to all these sons of bitches.
60% of international packages received by the U.S. Postal Service arrive here at New York's JFK, the busiest mail port in the country. 1 million packages per day come through this facility. At this time of year, that usually means Christmas gifts and care packages, but these customs officers are hunting for something else. Frank Russo is the port director for U.S. Customs and Border Protection. His team of 100 officers is on the lookout for illegal drugs, especially fentanyl, a highly dangerous synthetic opioid that's now flowing into the country at a record rate.
So you see they're protected, they have their gloves on, they have a mask on, and they're going to open up a package and see what they find.
CBP didn't start tracking how much fentanyl it intercepted until October 2015. But over the next year, it found 459 pounds. In 2017, it found 1,296 pounds.
They'll try anything. We see the fentanyl coming in toys, we see it coming in food products, you name it, and they'll try to use it.
And what technology are you using to screen for the fentanyl?
We use spectrometry, where we can shoot a laser at a package without having to open up the package. That's critically important for our officers to make sure that they're safe.
Not having to breach the package to identify what it is we're working with is extremely useful for law enforcement purposes. You know, for our safety, for everybody's safety. Here we go, that's just fentanyl. And this is actually cut with something else.
We've introduced canine training to detect fentanyl, and just in the last few months, they've made over 10 fentanyl seizures.
This year, Frank Russo's team made 84 fentanyl seizures, up from just 7 last year. When the officers determine they have a package that contains fentanyl, it's set aside for testing. And they have to be very careful. Inhaling just 2 milligrams, the equivalent of a few grains of salt, can be deadly.
It really comes down to training, to look at packages, determine which are good and which are bad. Countries that a package is coming from is usually an indicator of high risk. Most of the fentanyl that we seize, actually all of it that we seize, is from China and Hong Kong.
In October, the Department of Justice announced the first ever indictments of 2 Chinese nationals accused of shipping fentanyl to the United States.
Fentanyl and fentanyl analogs are coming into the country in numerous ways, including shipments from factories in China directly to U.S. customers who make those purchases over the internet.
We contacted the Chinese government to ask about fentanyl coming into the U.S. and were granted a rare interview with an official from the Chinese equivalent of the DEA.
We don't have evidence indicating them breaking Chinese law. Our counterparts in the U.S. have also failed to provide such evidence. Therefore, regarding these 2 suspects, we haven't reached the point to indict or arrest them yet. The U.S. has unilaterally indicted these 2 Chinese nationals, which has caused difficulty in our investigation.
The agency took our camera crew to a private mail facility where it said all outgoing packages are inspected for drugs. But Chinese officials reject the claim that their country is the only source of illegal fentanyl.
It's hard to blame the crimes and abuses of fentanyl on one country alone. This is not objective and overly arbitrary. As I know, many states in the U.S. are still legalizing the use of marijuana. These trends contribute to the abuse of fentanyl-type substances. Let me interrupt this noodle muncher right here. What the fuck century is this asshole living in, or how fucking stupid does he think we are to fall for this decades-old gateway drug bullshit story that's been debunked 45 years ago? Smoke a joint, then right up to fentanyl. Bullshit.
American law enforcement officials told us the drug isn't just coming through the mail. The DEA says illicit traffickers are taking advantage of China's rapidly growing pharmaceutical industry and supplying Mexican cartels with fentanyl, which is then smuggled across the border. In New York City this year, the DEA seized a total of 193 kilos of fentanyl, more than enough to kill the city's population 11 times over.
Fentanyl is the game changer as far as the DEA is concerned. It's the most dangerous substance that come across in the history of drug trafficking. Heroin, cocaine pale in comparison to how dangerous fentanyl is.
If you're able to stop one way of fentanyl getting into the country, how do you combat an emerging route that may appear?
That's the hard thing. Traffickers have established routes already, and they're using those same trafficking routes. The southwest border of the United States is porous. There's thousands of miles of border. Thousands of trucks pass every day. There's millions and millions of parcels come into the country every day. You can't search them all. And the traffickers know that.
Russo knows his team at JFK can't search every package. Although he keeps track of what his officers find, it's impossible to know how much fentanyl is slipping through.
Are you worried that with 80 seizures in the past that's just the tip of the iceberg?
From 2015 to 2017, we've tripled our fentanyl seizures across the country. When we seize fentanyl, it's going to every corner of the United States. It's everywhere.
This is Dave from Net4 Truth USA, Whirlwind, Revolt. Thank you for listening, thank you for your prayers, and thank you for your support. Please check out these awesome T-shirts. Support our channel because we are not monetized. Please subscribe to our backup channels, Whirlwind Revolt, Inglorious Patriots, and Net4Truth USA 2 Patriot channel. You can also find us at Net4Truth USA on BitChute. We fly so close to the target, we're on our 4th fighter jet. We will be relentless truth seekers until the enemies of freedom are defeated. You can support this channel by using the links in the description, but for a $100 donation, I will personally send you a autographed hardcover special edition copy of Land of Childhood's Fears. Also, visit my bookstore at lulu.com/Net4Truth USA. If you are viewing this video on BitChute, you can use the links in the description to support us, or simply click the green $ dot on our video to support this channel. Thank you. Links are in the description section.